Hey people, welcome to the channel, and this is going to be a fun video. This is going to be my top 5 favorite knives. I honestly haven't thought about it in a long time, and it's a question that I got through Instagram. It's SupervivienciaModerna. If you want to follow me, the link is going to be there below. Another question that I got, which I'm not even kidding. Hey, where can I buy your books, dude? I'm not even joking. Seriously, it's one of the most common questions I get, even though in every single one of my videos I say that you can get my books in Amazon following the links below. So, answering your question, my friend, where can you find my books? In Amazon, in the links below. You have it in the description of the video. I even comment and pin that same text with the links for my books in Amazon. It could not be any easier. But hey, if you want to learn more about this stuff and what I have to share with you folks in terms of preparedness, my books are available down there, or just hell, go to Amazon and look up Furfell, and you'll probably have a list there too. Yeah, the links are even easier. But let's go right into this thing. What are my top 5 favorite knives? Man, I haven't thought about that in a very long time, because even though I have hundreds, I don't know, maybe even thousands of knives, yeah, just at the very least several hundred knives. Some of them very fancy, some of them very expensive, some of them more average, but I have a ton of very good, excellent blades. But it's not as if it's something I think of, oh, this is my favorite knife ever. No, there's things that you like, and then something else comes by, and at the end of the day, these are still objects, and you should not really be all that attached. But if I had to pick one that really means a lot to me, would be my grandfather's knife, right? This is my grandpa's blade, pocket knife. It's made in Toledo, Spain. It's, yes, kind of like a Victorinox. It's actually very high quality. The steel is very good, takes an edge, holds it nicely. I actually used this knife for a while until I realized that it was a lot more valuable for me in terms of the sentimental value that it has rather than using it. So I just one day cleaned it up nicely, oiled it. Yeah, it has a lot of oil here still, and just stored it. The blade does say, I believe, Toledo there, right? Toledo inox. Okay, so it's made in Spain, and it's a very well made pocket knife. It is very stiff, not very stiff, but it's still solid. The spring locking mechanism, again, basically a Victorinox knife. You have the can opener, very sharp, a lot sharper than in the Victorinox, and it looks quite thin. I would be very concerned about breaking that thing, because look how thin it is. I wouldn't be forcing it too much. The screwdriver works okay. And you have a small blade as well as the main blade. And you have something that a lot of people love, is a giant ass pair of scissors. This is enormous. The spring broke at some point. I replaced it with a tiny one from Victorinox. I should get a larger one, but you know what? I'm not even using it, so it's just about keeping it oiled and stored, and yeah, that's the main value that it has for me. So I just bring it out every once in a while to check it out, and that's sort of it. That's a pretty long ass owl. And the screwdriver. So yeah, this is, yeah, pretty much without a doubt my most the knife that I have the most sentimental appreciation for of them all. Another blade that I've developed appreciation over the years, even though it's not the same thing, not even close, is the Leatherman Charge. This is the first model that they had in titanium, the fancy wave. That was originally the intent behind the Charge. And they used this thing for actually decades, as in plural, as in 2 decades at the very least. And has just kind of recently been replaced by the same thing, but just a more modern version of the Charge, with aluminum handles and a nice steel. This one has an excellent steel in the blade. It has been used a lot. And this is not, oh, I used it in a destruction. No, I never try to break this thing. I've always used it to preserve it as much as I could, but after so many years, this blade has been used a lot and resharpened a lot, so it probably lost some steel. Still very sharp. This is S30V, so it holds an edge very nicely. Now, it's not the toughest blade ever, But in terms of edge retention, S30V is kind of well known for that. It is a high-end steel. It is a little bit more, not as tough, but holds an edge very well. Just don't be stupid and don't try to break it. I've had to use this multi-tool at times in a more forceful manner, using it for hammering stuff. Always trying to be very careful with that, just trying to be careful and not break anything. And that has been rewarded with still holding on. It's just a very solid knife, well, very solid multi-tool. So yeah, kind of, but I'll put it in there in terms of my favorite knives or my favorite tools, blades of some kind. That would be one that has earned a place there in that top 5 list. The other one is this one. This is the El Hombre. When I first started getting serious about EDC, and that was over 20 years ago, I ended up eventually with this as my other blade. So in one of my pockets, and this is a philosophy of mine that I've kept over decades now, which is I will have a multi-tool in one pocket, I will have a blade in the other. And the blade is most likely going to be dedicated for self-defense, for that kind of use, and I'll try to not use it. Just, yes, you will open it and just get comfortable with it, but keep it super sharp because it's going to be in use for that sort of thing, while this covers the practical stuff. And I started off with this blade, and this is El Hombre, no longer made by Cold Steel, made in Japan. Back in the day, yeah, pinned. Yes, back in the day, these things were pinned. But they were already working on having the ambidextrous thumb opening thing. Eventually got replaced by this old giant banana of a knife, which is enormous. It's over 6 inches long. But I carried this thing in my jeans, in my pants, 511 or jeans, for years. Years in my pocket. Fortunately, it has seen very, very little use, but it's been something that people were surprised when you brought this thing out, and that's kind of the effect that you want. You want to bring out this giant ass blade and hopefully not have to use it. And if you have to use it, well, yeah, sucks for them, right? This was also, and this is also made in Japan, I believe. There you have some of those. There you go. This was eventually replaced by another monster of a blade, same sort of thing, but this one now resembling more of the Voyager series, the handle. So it's a slightly shorter, still Vaquero Grande kind of blade, that recurved edge, which as you see, and I'll talk about them that in a second, but I appreciate that recurve blade because I just know that for slashing it has that effect. If you want to slash through stuff, it's going to be catching stuff within that angle, and it's going to push the blade straight into what you're cutting. Instead of, if you had something that was not like that, if you had something a straight edge, it can just slip over what you're cutting. But if it catches it, it's a lot more likely to go deeper into what you're slashing into, as well as having a nice penetrating tip. So again, same philosophy, carried a lot, used very little, and just waiting for that moment in which you hopefully will never have to use it. If I had to choose one folding knife, it would probably be this. Something practical, it will probably be like a Vaquero, well, not a Vaquero, a Voyager large clip point. This is probably one of the more utilitarian and objectively one of the more useful pocket knives you can have. It is light enough, it is sturdy enough, it is big enough, and yet small enough. So yeah, if you had to pick like one, it would probably be something like this. Another one that I've learned to appreciate a lot over the years is this one. This is a zero tolerance, 0452. There it is. Okay, and this is really more of a recent addition, even though I've had it for years now. But I love this thing. This is one of the sleekest butter smooth mechanism, deploying blades. It is so fast in the hand, so pretty too. But sometimes form does meet function, and this thing is unbelievably good looking, yet handy, yet comfortable in your hand, and just such a high quality. Made in US, titanium, carbon fiber, super nice steel, and what else can I say? It's a lovely, lovely blade. Now this one came along as replacement for this one when I thought I had lost it. For years, this one disappeared. And for those of you that have been in the channel for a long time, you know that was the case. I thought I lost this knife, and this knife was definitely one of my favorites as well. Sturdy as it can be, very blocky, very strong, wave feature, so you just bring it out and it opens from your pocket. But I one day thought I had lost it. It ended up appearing in a box of toothpicks of all places. I don't even know how it got there, but there it was one day, and it was like, God damn it, there you are. I thought I lost you, and no. But I already had this one. And between these two, probably this one is just, nicer and better overall as a knife. This one is more tactically, more of a beastie thing, and it's nice that it opens on one-handed. But these two are great. Yeah, these would be definitely among that list. If I had to pick one, if you force me, we'll probably go with this one. But yeah, these two would probably go in there. And that's kind of it for my, let's go back with it, the original formation of having these, like so. Yeah, that would be my top 4 blades, right? These 4 would be the first that I think of, and then of course I had to throw in there my own knife, my own design. This is definitely on that list. If I'm forced to say, yeah, top 5, top 10, or whatever, this is gonna be there. This is a prototype of my knife. This is a prototype of my survival blade that I designed for Aitor, the Spanish manufacturer, the Spanish knife company. That's the prototype. This is the production blade, the Aitor Furfel. And I think it ended up looking pretty nice and sweet. The sheath uses the same sheath as the Oso, the white Oso or black Oso, a well-known Aitor blade too. And it comes along with the survival kit of the Jungle King 1, which is pretty cool because I love that thing. I was not that much of a fan of the hollow handle of the Jungle series, the Jungle King series, but to have that kit, that was a nice one. And this is what I see as my version of the ideal survival knife, right? You could have your own opinions on, but a straight edge, I personally like this better. I'm a fan of this. I just understand that the mechanics benefit in terms of getting very close to the edge, push cutting, using that angle there to put more direct pressure in terms of push cutting, having that so as to catch stuff in there. If you're peeling, if you're just feathering, if you're just cutting away, that's super useful. If you're slashing, you're going to be catching things in that. And one of the big things, at least for me, was the ability of chopping while not being a bigger blade. So this is more of a medium size, what is it, like a 7-inch blade or so? Well, the way in which you increase the chopping ability of a shorter blade is by having more metal near the tip, near the end of your blade. That's going to be giving that more of an axe, more of a hatchet mechanic in terms of weight distribution. And yes, it does chop very nicely for its size. And that's why I went with this shape. Some people will argue it's a lot more difficult to sharpen. It's not been my experience. I've never had a problem sharpening either in any recurve blade, and certainly not this one. But in terms of the one that I've used quite a bit, that would be a prototype, the one that you see there, right? That prototype is something that was handed over to me by Aitor when we were working on this project, and they said, it's kind of, it's not nicely finished or anything. I said, it doesn't matter, just send it my way, I'll just finish it up myself. I mean, is it the blade? Yes, it's the steel that we were talking about, the Boiler N6 N90 steel, N680 steel, the current version. Yeah, it's that. It's been properly heat treated. Oh, no, that's perfectly fine. It's just that we messed up on some of the bevels, and that's okay. Send it my way. I just want to test the thing to see how durable it is. And this is the prototype that I ended up using for beating the living crap out of it. This blade has been used to chop through a piece of wall from a dumpster, a piece of wall from a work site. I just took it out and it was brick, mortar, and cement, and I used this thing to chop through it, and the video is still out there. I used this to cut through metal pieces of pipe, of what's copper. Anyway, I used this to beat the crap out of it and see how well it held up, and it held up so well that I just said, you know what, that's a real shame. I'll just sharpen it again, put some scales on it, these wooden scales like so, and I'll just keep on using it. And this eventually became a knife that I use a lot. You know, this is the prototype of the Eitor Furfell, the commercial one that comes with these handles and nicer finish and so on. This is a little bit more crappier, poorly finished. But hey, it is a prototype. It hasn't got to be all nice and pretty. That's gonna be for the one that goes out there. Made in Spain by Aitor. I mean, even as a child, Aitor for me was a legendary knife manufacturer. Was the company that I always, if you had asked me, hey, who would you have make your dream survival knife, I would have said, like, completely daydreaming, yes, Aitor, yeah, sure, like laughing as if impossible. And what do you know, eventually one day things end up happening. But this is the blade I still use a lot. Whenever I need a strong ass blade, I still bring this thing out, chopping the crap out of it, but yes, using it. The other blade that I use all the time is this one from Glock, the Glock knife. This is something, you know, I use all the time. I beat the crap out of it. You know, whenever I need something that is just a sharp piece of metal, a pointy, sharp piece of metal, this is probably what's going to come along. If this is not enough because there's a little bit more of chopping involved, I would use this. If I'm maybe batoning, this is handier because it's light. So you just put it there, baton. I mean, I can baton with this one as well, but this being even lighter, if I don't need that chopping, that heavier chopper thing, this is, of course, much better steel. It holds an edge a lot longer, but the beauty of this for me is that it doesn't. Yes, because I like knives and I like sharpening them. And this being rather soft, heat-treated 1095, I have to resharpen this very often. And I love doing that because I like sharpening my blades. And ironically enough, with fancier steels, you don't get to do that as often. And again, it's a cheap knife that you just don't think much about. So can I even say it's one of my favorite knives? No, I mean, there's nothing special about it. I use it and I like it well enough. But definitely, this would be one of the ones that, hey, given that's what I've made, it has that special thing to it. But being completely honest, I don't feel strongly about any of the things. These are all tools. These are all objects. Yes, the one from my grandfather definitely has something that cannot be replaced. If the house is burning down and it could only just save one knife, it would be this one. And it would even hurt me to lose my prototype of my own knife? No, honestly, no. Why? Because at least for me, it's not about, oh, the object that it's my precious. No, not even with my grandfather's knives. The memories I have of him are a lot more valuable, right? And even for something like this, the prototype, well, if you have this one, if you have the commercial one, it's the same thing. The essence of the thing survives one particular object, right? If you have this one, it is still a Furfell survival knife, right? But yeah, sure, the prototype is cool. The story, the background of it, that's also nice. But hey, that would be my top 5 favorite knives. Let me know what your favorite knives are, and if you have any cool stories. I honestly would love to learn that and read about that in the comments if you have a minute. See you on the next video, guys. Take care.